Good evening, everyone. Welcome. This evening, welcome to Wayne here for the first time, and also Christine and Helen. Have you been here before?
Once.
Once. Welcome back. And also apologies from Meg and Clint. Clint's not feeling so well this evening. And also Alberto, apologies. And so another Peter and Leslie, who sometimes come. They were going to come, but not able to come tonight. We're here. You've been here quite early, some of you. That's good. Good to arrive early and have times to settle down, settle in before we start. So let's settle into the moment with our meditation. Having established our comfortable sitting position, aligning our body with some degree of symmetry, balance, poise, helping to enable an inner mindful presence. Our eyes gently closed, helping to bring awareness within, away from external visual stimuli. And also having an initial deep, relaxing, letting go breath. Breathing out any stress tension that may have been building in our body over the happening of the day, the happening of the week. Using this time now to relax, release, let go. Breathing out as we feel into our body. Feeling into our body with awareness as we set up mind, body for the meditation. Particularly putting aside issues, worries, concerns, thoughts about what has been, thoughts about what might be, and tuning into more of a felt sense of simply being and knowing, rather than the constant doing and thinking. More of a whole body sensing, feeling, knowing, embodied awareness. And using our breath as our reference point also for the present moment. But before focusing awareness on the breath, just feeling into the body, grounding our awareness in the body, its platform for experience, the body. Feeling grounded, settled, centered, present. Noticing a few contact sensations. Our feet connecting with the floor. Just noticing, sensing, feeling that feet against the floor. Feeling our body connecting with the chair, the cushion, or the meditation stool, sensing that. Body against the chair, cushion, or stool. And noticing and feeling the placement of our hands and fingers, making sure they feel comfortable, adjusting them if we need to. Sensing our hands and fingers, whatever they're touching. Relaxing the abdomen belly area, softening the belly. Bringing awareness up to our chest, relaxing the chest area so we can breathe freely. Becoming aware of our face, maybe even feeling the air connecting with our face. And then perceiving light coming in through the closed eyelids, some degree of light, a lightness, brightness, color, patterning, or just a blankness. As we look into that lightness, brightness, blankness through the closed eyelids. A forward focused gaze into the space in front through the closed eyelids. You might notice a few background sounds, but no need to be distracted or disturbed by those, certainly not to think about them. Also, if there are any mental sights or sounds, as in thoughts, we don't need to engage those, at least for the next while. Allowing the mind to become quiet, inwardly quiet, still from the movement of thoughts, and spacious from the mental content of thoughts. Allowing this underlying natural domain of the mind, heart, to become more apparent. Inner stillness, silence, and spaciousness. As the mind calms and quietens, it allows our heart to open up more fully to the present moment. Mindfulness and heartfulness. The Buddhist word chitta, mind, heart. And using our breath as our reference point for being aware in the present. So locating that main sensation of our breath, maybe at the nose, nostril area. Directing and sustaining attention on that particular point of contact, the nose nostril area. Feeling the inflow, outflow of each breath, each naturally occurring breath. Not forcing or controlling the breath, just letting the body breathe itself naturally. Receiving the gift of life through each in-breath. And breathing out, sharing that gift of life, the breath, into the space around us. Receiving, relinquishing, allowing, letting go. Each mindful breath helping us to enter the present moment more intimately, deeply. Feeling each breath, looking into the lightness, brightness through the closed eyes. And if it's helpful, using one or two mental words in the mind, a mantra. Using a word or two to help keep the mind in the present and away from other discursive thinking. Whatever words might seem helpful, such as calm on the in-breath, ease on the out-breath. Calm, ease, calm, ease, calm, ease. Please help yourself to some tea. We can have then some reflections and questions. This coming Sunday, there's the offering of a meditation retreat, half day, on the theme of meditation as special, spiritual, and sacred. And some of the things I'll be talking about on the retreat will be around the appreciation of meditation as something more than just a mental exercise. And particularly in the context of the last probably 40 years, 30, 40 years, where the idea of mindfulness has become mainstream. So a movement beyond the monastery, the temple, the ashram, the zendo into mainstream contemporary life and culture, mindfulness, which is good, but it does and has come with some challenges. The challenge is that mindfulness which is basically a translation of the Buddhist word sati, but it's become such that it's lost its foundation in something more special, spiritual, sacred. It's become like a mental exercise, a mental training for health, yes, for high performance, sports, business, and so forth. And which is great. Certainly, it's good to have a lot more people practicing mindfulness. But the thing is, something's lost in that in terms of where it's come from. Especially where mindfulness is often defined as, or let's say meditation is defined as the systematic practice of mindfulness. which is one quite okay definition, but the object of meditation is more than just being mindful. And maybe even mindfulness isn't such a good translation of the word sati. So sati from the Pali language, the Buddha used the word sati a lot. Sati as a quality appears in many of the numerical collections of important groupings of qualities that relate to practice and um, development of the mind towards enlightenment. But interestingly, the Buddha used this word sati, and it was a word that was familiar to people at the time. It was a word that was actually from the Sanskrit, which is smriti. And smriti was a word that was used colloquially by the Brahmin priests for their activity of recitation of the Vedas, the Holy Scriptures, which more meant a sense of reciting or remembering. And so that sati has more to do with remembering, being aware of, knowing, recognizing. In fact, the translation of sati in Thai language isความระลึกได้ the ability to remember. So if you're mindful, the English words, you have the ability to remember what you're doing. You're attentive and aware of what's going on. You remember to be present. But has that sort of sense of memory, not just a mental side of things. And that's the issue, that mindfulness has become more of a mental thing in the West, mental training. Whereas in meditation, the Buddhist word for meditation is citta bhavana. Bhavana means cultivation, development, so that cultivating, growing, developing something like a garden. And chitta is the word specifically heart, but often translated as mind, heart, sort of a heart, mind, heart, more of a sense in the body than a mental. The word for more mental is mano in Pali language, mano, and then heart or chitta. That's something which is more of the spiritual sense as opposed to just mental. So meditation practice is developing the quality of the heart or the heart mind. In a sense, it's moving the mind from the mental mind into more of the heart mind, away from concepts, away from conceiving, thinking, giving birth to sense of self. And when the mind becomes quiet, then there's more of a felt sense of being aware, more of an embodied awareness. And I think we need to remind ourselves of this because, again, we as a culture, as a society, even moving into a sense of civilization, we're becoming a lot more mentalized to the point where we find it very difficult to stop the mental thinking, conceiving, creating, concocting that goes on, complaining. So the sense of becoming more embodied, and that's more down to the body, and a knowing that comes from a whole body sense, a felt sense of being in the body, being aware, being grounded, which is also more of a neurologically, brain-wise, more right side of the brain. The right side of the brain's more generally, let's say, involved with body awareness. And body awareness, then feeling. So we feel in the body, we don't feel in our head, so to speak. We feel emotions in the body, embodied experience. The right side of the brain is more involved in creativity, because creativity has that sense of feeling and emotion and sense of expressing. And I think that reminding ourselves of this, so meditation becomes more of an embodied experience, feeling more grounded within awareness in the body, more of a whole body experience, which then provides more of an understanding, more of a sense of being receptive, being perceptive, um, and that means the thinking needs to become quiet, and something special, spiritual, sacred, significant happens when the mind heart becomes quiet. There's an experience of profound peace in the present moment, a sense of like being totally present, coming to our senses. Because thinking can be about yesterday, tomorrow, next week, last year, and which is always related back to oneself. But when the thinking stops, there's a sense of just deep, profound presence in the present moment. I've said many times before that our senses are really only sensitive to present moment experience. We can't smell something yesterday. We can't hear something tomorrow. The senses just pick up data, information in the present. But we miss out on a lot of that because we get caught up in the thinking, which gets in the way. And of course, we can engage in extreme sports, which brings you right into the present moment. Those that are involved in extreme sports and are not in the present moment, they don't last very long. They fall off, or they uh, they don't see what they're supposed to be doing. And so the extreme sport, the extreme experience, or the extreme sort of risk brings the mind intimately, deeply into the present moment, that even becomes a type of blissful experience whilst you're hanging off a cliff somewhere, because there's no thinking, there's just total presence. And this is also described as a religious experience, a spiritual experience, a peak experience. And as I mentioned last week, the word numenos, which was a word coined by Rudolf Otto. So Rudolf Otto, he was a German philosopher, theologian. He was born in 1869 and died in 1937. And he was one of the most influential thinkers about religion in the first half of the 20th century. He's best known for his analysis of the experience that, in his view, underlies all religion. He calls this experience numenos and says it has three components. These are often designated with a Latin phrase, mysterium, tremendum, et fascinans. And so that these three sort of elements of this experience. And the reason I mention this is because as last week as well, talking about transpersonal experience, it's important to be aware of this because I heard of a study that was done a number of years ago, and it was into this sort of profound religious spiritual experience. And the study showed that a lot of people had had it, but because they didn't understand what it was, they were very afraid of it. They didn't never want to have it again. It was sort of too overwhelming. And yes, overwhelming because it's overwhelming for the self, because the self suddenly gets contracted, dissolves, and disappears. And the person that's experiencing this, in a way, only really gets a sense of reflecting upon it when the thinking comes back, when thought comes back, when the sense of self comes back, and they go, what the hell was that? I wasn't there, I disappeared. And that's scary for the self, which always wants to be happening. And for the self, egoic self to be always happening, then there needs to be thinking about something past or future or what I'm doing now and so forth. Ongoing commentary that's there. But this experience is so profound that it can really change people's lives. I mentioned last week that I had an experience somewhat like this that became the motivation to take up monastic life. It was so sort of profound. Um, these three Latin words, mysterium, tremendum, et fascinans. So the first one, the sense of mysterium, or a sense of um, whole overwhelm, blank wonder, stupa. Some of the words that they've got here. A sense of awe that happens, which means that the mind is so sort of overcome with the experience, a feeling experience, that thinking stops, the selfing process stops. There's just a total sense of the present moment. So time stops, a sense of entering this timeless domain. I was listening to a talk today by David White, the poet. Anyone heard of him? David White? Um, and he mentioned that what he was saying, he said, eternity is not a whole lot of time. Eternity is the ending of time, sort of the timeless, which certainly can be equated to this experience, the timeless present moment, not just lots and lots of time, eternity, but no time. He was saying this timeless eternity experience, which is like um, you're standing in the present moment and time just disappears, and a sense of like a whole different dimension. And they also talk about this experience of the numinous beyond words. It's ineffable. You can't find words to fully explain it because it's outside of our usual concepts. But in trying to use words, so mysterium tremendum, tremendum is sort of awe, the feeling of awe, even the feeling of terror, um, absolute unapproachability, even the wrath of God, sense of like feeling just totally taken, overpowering, majesty, might, sense of one's nothingness in contrast to its power, sense of objective presence, energy, urgency, will, vitality. And so obviously a tremendous experience. And then fascination, a sense of it being sort of attractive in spite of an underlying maybe unease that might be there, confusion, but a sense of feeling something known, something that's like a reminder of a state of being, the core of our being, again, that transcends time and place, something that maybe is more at the heart of our experience of being alive than just the wrappings and trappings that come from just the mentalizing and conceptualizing and creating that the mental side of ourself creates. So a sense of like a profound sense of deep peace and at home, which is why it can then inspire people to go, okay, after the experience, when thinking reoccurs, I need to find out more about this, because there was such a sense of deep, profound peace, presence, timelessness, as if it was like one's true nature. And depending upon what your conditioning is, what your socialization is, education, etc., as to then how the mind's going to interpret it, particularly in a religious or spiritual context. So again, as Rudolf Otto sort of mentioned, it's the foundation of a lot of the religions that are developed throughout the history of the world. Someone's had an experience like this, and then help others to experience this, whether it's, say, the Buddha realizing this in a complete way, full, complete spiritual enlightenment, and then feeling inspired to help others realize this full, complete spiritual freedom, the undying, uncreated, unoriginated, immortal, eternal nirvana. These are words for nirvana, or maybe Jesus Christ experiencing this, the profound depth of the Holy Spirit, and then wanting to share it with others, apostles and his disciples, or other particular realized people, then taking up a path of teaching this way to find their way back to that fundamental at oneness with that which is beyond just the material, mundane, mortal, created um, world of experience. And obviously meditation being a profound way to that. So a lot of our meditation is in a way helping to move the mind beyond that sort of thinking, the thinking mind, conceiving, conceptual mind, into more the mind, heart, felt, feeling, knowing, being space, and a deep sense of presence in that, which again can be undescribable, but also at the same time very peaceful and blissful. The peace, the bliss that comes from deep, profound peace and serenity. Certainly akin to what the Buddha also describes as a jhanic experience, so deep absorption. Uh, Even some of the elements or attributes for moving into a deep meditative state, jhana. So vitaka, vichara, piti, sukha, ekagata. So applying the mind, sustaining the mind, allowing and then a sense of rapture that comes because the mind is very, very present, free from the five hindrances, pervading happiness or sort of a well-being, and then a full, complete focused presence in that. And that's just the first level of jhana. And as these levels of absorption meditation go further, they go into deeper states that are very much akin to what Rudolf Otto would describe as the numinous, or even where the first stage of enlightenment that the Buddha spoke about is somewhat like the result of this type of experience, a taste of nirvana, a taste of enlightenment, or what in Zen is called satori, with a taste of enlightenment, a satori experience. It becomes a great motivation for meditation practice beyond just meditating for feeling good and being healthy and being able to perform better on the golf course or the whatever sporting arena or public speaking or whatever. And that's where the mindfulness comes in. I've got dozens of books that are about the mindful leader, the mindfulness in corporations, the mindful executive, the mindful sportsman, the mindful mother, the good, better than the unmindful, whatever. But mindfulness in the context of meditation is a lot more than just self-ego performing well for self-gain. It's something which can transcend self and even becomes maybe the meaning of being. Why are we alive? Are we just here to go through the motions of life and have a good enough, decent life, and then death happens? Or is there something more important to use this precious life for, to realize, to know and experience and to fulfill? And certainly that's been the message of the various teachers in various traditions. It's about realizing something profound beyond just the ways of the world. I think that most of us know that just being caught up in the ways of the world, looking for the next thing, it doesn't ultimately fulfill. After a while, you get tired of that. Even if I got it, but how do you feel? Well, okay, but then you get introduced to a better one, a newer one, or a faster one, or a smaller one, or a bigger one, or a red one, or a younger one. And so there's no end to the next thing. So it's about finding profound peace in the simplicity of and purity of the mind heart, and meditation becomes that avenue for that. So we're engaging the right practice and doing the right thing. It's a matter of keep on keeping on. Go within or you go without. Um, any thoughts or questions yourself about this experience of otherness or holiness? Even Rudolf Otto talks about this in his book called The Idea of the Holy, where he says holiness is not just a type of morality. It's a word that describes something more spiritual or profound, hence the numenos. Brendan?
Do you think that's an experience that anybody could have, or is there an element of karma and conditions being right for that experience to happen to someone?
Mm. Well, I would say that generally it's possible for it to happen to anyone, but the conditions need to be right, which includes karma, cause and effect, and the person needs to be open to that possibility. It's a bit like um, can anyone experience love? Well, sure, but depends upon your karma and depends upon the right situation, meeting the right person, and in terms of intimate love.
Not just a bolt of lightning that comes out of nowhere. There's
The right conditions. Yeah,
that
yeah. So certainly the Buddha's teachings are about the possibility of setting up the right conditions to facilitate the opening by letting go. Um, and and certainly in other traditions as well, there's a sense of setting up the right conditions. Monastic life is very much about people that appreciate the possibility of realizing a peace, a freedom, a suchness beyond just regular life, and so putting themselves in a situation of training and renunciation and practice to and allow that possibility to happen. Um, Certainly in Christianity, there's more of a sense of um, the sense of for want of a better word, God, Holy Spirit being involved as well. But then it's how you define that. Thich Nhat Hanh defines Holy Spirit as mindful presence, um, God as ultimate suchness. So um, certainly practice and cultivating the yes, neurologically the brain, but also moving beyond that sort of conceptual conceiving. So there is more that sort of felt sense presence, um, for like even samadhi and jhana to occur.
I'm realizing more and more, perhaps it's effective to have a goal in mind before you start meditation to help prevent the mind from wandering so much. And I guess the tendency is wanting to aim for the end goal straight away. For example, the states that you're mentioning about. But then I wonder if it's better to go sequentially, so to speak. So obviously you've talked about the first jhana being sustained thought. So like what is the best thing to focus on? Is it better to focus on straight to this end goal of release and focusing on this experience, or is it a matter of focusing on the beginning stages of calming the mind, sustaining attention, and letting this happen through a sequence or through a gradual process?
I would say that the latter.
Yeah.
Because it's a bit like if you're on a journey, if you're looking too far ahead, then you miss out being aware of where you're stepping and you can fall over. So it's about, yes, maybe in the beginning, okay, yes, there's a goal, but I'm going to be aware of every step. And then one day, oh, we're at that place. We've arrived at the destination. because getting too goal orientated can be a real problem. Especially if people are trying too hard and forcing the mind. And in many ways, the meditation is really the practice of just letting go. It's like non-possessiveness and non-personalizing, and a sense of just letting go. And the whole practice of just being aware of an in-breath, receiving, and then letting go, receiving, letting go. Because it's only the sense of self that's looking for that goal. And in a way, that's what needs to be let go of. And then the goal is actually there.
Yeah, that's what I would have thought. But it seems focusing on the breath, for example, it does require, you need to know what you're doing, does require some exertion. Maybe not exertion is the word, but persistent focus of the mind. And then, as I understand, the Buddha has this thing that he says that the one who makes letting go their primary focus makes advancement very quickly. So it seems, I don't understand, there seems to be a slight contradiction there about focusing on the breath and making that, but then again, just focusing on letting go altogether and forgetting everything, so to speak.
I think it comes with training. So it's like in the beginning, we need to remember and focus and remind ourselves and train. But after a while, it becomes second nature. It's a bit like if you see someone that's performing really well, like a sports person, they've done the training and they can just do what needs to be done. They're not sort of focusing on every step with their running. They're just, everything knows what to do. Or someone that's playing cricket. It's like once you've done the training, then it just becomes automatic.
Good point.
Which is why it's really also important to practice every day till it becomes just an automatic way of being aware, being present.
They call it overthinking, don't they?
Pardon?
They call it overthinking.
Well, yeah, we get caught up in overthinking and then we fall over.
Yeah.
Overthinking how to do something, and that's more left brain, and but it's about quietening the left side of the brain and then just feeling into the experience. Sort of like getting the right balance. There needs to be some degree of thought to begin with, and reminding ourselves and motivating, inspiring ourselves, but then at the same time letting that go and allowing that other felt type of approach to come in.
Yeah, it's the nice teaching, I think, to one of his disciples, Sonar, the musician, where I think he's trying too hard. Then he explains about fine-tuning an instrument. And if it's too hard, you don't play the instrument right. If it's too soft, you don't get the right sound. It's somewhere in the middle.
Especially if the strings are too tight or too loose. Right balance.
When you were talking about this, I've reflected on experiences that I've had, which seemed to be in line with what you're saying, and particularly around the terrifying aspect of it. And I've not only, but that stuck out of it, and having this sense of like this overwhelming presence or something coming. It's like a sense of, oh, I'm going to be annihilated, and it's it feels terrifying. And then for me, it's usually I just can't resist it anymore, or something like that. I get tired, or I'm not sure what it is, and then it's peace. What was I afraid of? Yeah, it's hard to kind of just right after that, but then suddenly it transforms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even with the thoughts that might come up, even just being able to know that they're just thoughts, and the mind not buying into those thoughts, and allowing that sort of feeling of deep, profound presence to continue and occur. But if we get caught up in the thoughts, oh, this is weird, this is strange, then that's back into the left brain thinking, mental stuff, self, and the experience of deep presence maybe even stops. So it's about being aware of, okay, this may be something that might happen during meditation, or as we spoke before, in nature, and it's perfectly natural. It's also wonderful, and to allow it to occur. Because again, as I said in the study, a lot of people had an experience, but because they didn't know what it was, they were sort of afraid of it and hope that never happens again.
All right.
That's Siri.
Yeah.
That's, so maybe some of you are coming along to our retreat day on Sunday, so some more meditation. And I'll reflect a bit more about along these lines of making meditation something which is more significant and special for us, as something which nourishes our being and awakens a sense of purpose in life beyond just the outside material things. So thanks for coming out tonight, and see you next time.
Yeah.